Okay, this section is this will be my literature. I'll probably split into two videos though. So this part will be plays, poetry, classical lit. Yeah. And then the other video will be more modern literature, probably like 20th century and on literature, something like that. So here is, of course, Greek tragedy. Then we got Euripides, 10 plays by Euripides, complete plays of Aristophanes, and the Oedipus plays of Sophocles, and the complete plays of Sophocles. I have read the Oedipus plays of Sophocles, so that's Oedipus the King, and Antigone, and there's another one, Oedipus at Colonus. I don't think I read that one, but those are pretty good. If you think things are bad in your life right now, you should read Oedipus the King. That's got to be one of the worst things that could happen to you. But it's Greek tragedy, so the format's a little bit interesting. They have the normal play, like events are taking place and people are talking and all that, and then they come out to this part where let me see if I can find it. There's like this chorus that are just talking about it, and they just kind of, I think it's like they just kind of use poetry and stuff, and yeah, the choral, they call it a choral ode, and they just kind of talk about what's already occurred and what's to come, for kind of foreshadowing. So it's kind of interesting, different way of having of reading a play. So okay, I've got Virgil's Aeneid, Virgil's Roman drama. So there's Plautus, Terence, and Seneca. So I'm sure Seneca and Plautus are the most well-known, of course, with Virgil. Okay, and then here's Shakespeare. I've got, so here, these are comedies. So Shakespeare wrote comedies, tragedies, and histories. Here's A Midsummer Night's Dream, Measure for Measure, The Winter's Tale, Much Ado About Nothing. There's The Tempest, Merchant of Venice. Recently just picked that up for $1, I think. It might have been $1. There's Hamlet. Everyone will know that one. And Romeo and Juliet I don't have, actually. There's Macbeth. So I should mention tragedies. Hamlet's a tragedy. Macbeth's a tragedy. Tempest? I'm not sure. I better not say whether it is. I'm not sure about that. I know these two are definitely tragedies, and I know that all of these I mentioned were comedies. I don't know about the Tempest and Merchant of Venice, though. I did read Merchant of Venice in high school, but I was a high school kid and didn't appreciate anything in those days, so I don't remember what it's about. Probably didn't learn anything. You know, it's unfortunate. I was recently thinking about whether Shakespeare taught in high school is really a good idea, because a lot of people don't appreciate it and then never want to read it again because they think it's horrible and difficult to read and they don't understand it, and maybe it's done more damage than good. The few high school kids, which wasn't me, the few high school kids that get something out of Shakespeare when they're that age, yes, they should certainly be introduced to Shakespeare, but the rest of the people, like me at that time, maybe it was a bad thing to introduce it, because then we would not want to touch it again. So I wonder about that. Here is also another Shakespeare, Troilus and Cressida. I don't know what that's about. Here's Henry V. So Shakespeare does have a Henry IV. Usually it's in 2 parts. This is Henry V. This is a historical play. Okay, no more Shakespeare. Here's Henrik Ibsen. I believe he was it Norwegian or was it Swedish? Now I don't know, one of them. He's got some good stuff. His most famous play, I think, is The Dollhouse, but a really good one to read is Enemy of the People. That's a really good one. So find that one. It'll be difficult to find, too. Usually, when you see Ibsen's plays, it'll be his top three, like Ghosts and The Dollhouse. Or there's also something about the Builder or the Carpenters. There's another one called like that. But Enemy of the People is a difficult one to come across, but if you do, you should get it. Or just get it online. Here's Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman. I found this in a used bookstore. I didn't think I'd ever see it, but here it is. I picked it up because why not? It was $2, I guess. A little sticker in the corner there. Night of January the 16th. I guess Ayn Rand's first play. So sure, I'll have that. I already did Death of a Salesman. Oh yeah, here's Petrarch. Selections from the Canzonery. I don't know what that's about. Okay, that's it for plays. Now it's on to poetry. Dante's The Divine Comedy. Oh, maybe I'll move it over a little bit. Move it over. Okay. So you may have heard of Dante's Inferno. That's his first book. This is about hell, in between hell and heaven, and then heaven. He was the first one to talk about hell as being a nasty, burning magma place. Apparently that's not talked about like that in the Bible, but I thought there was something about... Apparently Jesus was the first one to talk about hell. Anyways, that's a whole other thing, but Dante has his Inferno, then the Purgatorio, and then the Paradiso. So 3 of those books are combined in the Divine Comedy as one, or you can buy them separately like I have here. Here's the Inferno right here, separately. You can get them all separately, or you can get all 3 in the one volume of the Divine Comedy. Here's the poetry of Alexander Pope, a little tiny volume. And there's Paradise Lost by John Milton. So those are poetry. Okay, now we're on to literature, like novel literature. Here's a historical novel. So this is not written in ancient times. This is just a historical novel about Macedonia and Alexander the Great. It's called A Murder in Macedon by Anna Apostoloi. I don't know. I actually got that a couple days ago. It was $1, I'm pretty sure. But I might read it when I actually have something to say, when I know something about Alexander the Great, which I don't right now. Here's Homer's The Odyssey and the Iliad. I have read the Odyssey. It's a good one. It's interesting how well it is written in a style of novel in which is similar to what we have today, even 3,000, 2,500 years ago. They wrote the same kind of literature, a story-like literature. So this is about Odysseus trying to get home after being stranded, and him and a bunch of other soldiers after the Battle of Troy. And one of the gods is pissed off at him, and he keeps running into problems. And he hops from island to island and also meets different kinds of people and has to deal with them and all that. And a god helps him along the way, and it's interesting. And there's stuff that happens at home that's a problem, and it's very good. The Iliad is about the Battle of Troy, although, do I have it here? Oh, where is... Oh, I have it later in the ancient history section. Was it Thucydides? I don't know. Oh, what was it? Peloponnesian War. I think it was Thucydides. Homer's account of the Battle of Troy is apparently more poetic and not necessarily factually based. It's more romanticized or something like that. Whereas Thucydides wrote more on the facts. So it's interesting because of that controversy even in that time of the truth, so to speak. So there's some classical. Here's Aesop's Fables. This is also from antiquity. So it's supposed to be a collection of little tiny stories. Little tiny stories. See, that's how long they are. The oak and the reed. The dog in the manger. So little tiny stories like that. The hare and the hound. So they're fables, right? So Plutarch, Selected Lives. So he's a biographer. Tons. He talks about people in here. And here's Chaucer. This is also actually old. Chaucer is very old. What is he, like 12th century or something? Maybe it was earlier than that. He is very old. But his Canterbury Tales are supposed to be good literature. So, I don't know. You have to look it up on Wikipedia, but I'm pretty sure Chaucer is not even, not Renaissance, certainly not. He was like medieval era. Maybe even in the Dark Ages, but I don't think he was that old. Okay, here's Shelf 2. So this is also moderately classic, not antiquity literature, but it's certainly classic literature. So we're talking 19th century and before, and then after that I'll stop and do a new video about more contemporary, which will be like 20th century on. These, I'm fairly certain, are in order of birth date of the author. So I have here first Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe. Most people know what that is. So he is the ultra-individualist living on his own, surviving. Here's Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift. That's medieval. There's Voltaire, Candide, and there's some other stuff in here. Zadig and Selected Stories. I recommend everyone read Candide. That's a good one. It's very strange. It's sort of like the Odyssey. It's got a lot of strange, I want to say, mythology in it. Like there's just weird things that happen. So that's a good one too. There's another one, The Portable Voltaire. It's got a whole bunch more of his stuff in it. Here is now Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice, Northanger Abbey. Maybe I'll Northanger Abbey. Some people like to see the covers. Sometimes there's nice art in the covers. I'll show you the covers. There's Emma, of course. That's probably the most famous one. Emma by Jane Austen. No, I haven't read these. I'm kind of right. Just recently I read Madame Bovary right here, but I'll get to that one. Sense and Sensibility. This might be the movie version. I guess they made a movie out of it. Okay, here's Wuthering Heights by Bronte. I did read this in grade 12. And I remember there was two Catherines in it. I think it was Catherine, and it was really annoying. I don't know why. There should be some practical concerns when you're writing literature. Like, don't name someone John Smith and Jonah Smith. Don't name a Catherine this and a Catherine, right? Catherine A, Catherine B or something is ridiculous. Name them to something else. How about Catherine and Stacy? That would have been fine. But no, she had two Catherines in it. So that's annoying. It just, I don't know. There cannot be a aesthetic advantage to having characters named the same name. It's just annoying. Here is Last of the Mohicans. There's actually a good movie about this by Cooper. Here's now Charles Dickens, Tale of Two Cities. This is actually an illustrated copy. Maybe I'll show you this. This is an illustrated copy. I'll show you one of the pictures in it. I only got halfway through this, and I had to put it down because I thought it was a waste of time. The two cities, of course, that the Tale of Two Cities is about is London and Paris. But it has multiple storylines going along, and it just seems like they're not connected, and it just was a waste of time, I thought. So anyways, there's pictures in this. So... Okay, here's David Copperfield. Here's the Pickwick Papers. Here's the Old Curiosity Shop. Here, I'll take these down. The Old Curiosity Shop. I'll show you the art. The art on the cover. Oliver Twist. And I've got here Nicholas Nickleby. So if you've read any of those, let me know if they're good or not. If you've read anything that you see here, post a comment and say if you liked it or not, because I'm always interested in what's worth reading. I guess I'll do this now. Here's Madame Bovary. I just finished it a few days ago. I don't know where she is. Maybe she's more contemporary literature, but I'll do her here now. This is a great book, and the characters go through a train wreck. It's terrible. Madame Bovary is destroyed in this novel, and it's really depressing. It's terrible what happens to her. Although she chose it. She went down that path and chose it. But it's truly disastrous for her. So it's a very good book. It's very well written. The author takes you down that path. It's just not a happy ending. How's that? Not a happy ending for anyone, really. I think everyone suffers pretty much, except maybe the one character, but I'm not going to say anything else about it. In case you want to go read it. All right, Scarlet Letter by Hawthorne. Here is, of course, the classic Frankenstein that people probably read in elementary school. Frankenstein, which is not the monster, that's the monster. Frankenstein is the doctor who makes him. The monster never has a name, it's just called the monster. So, someone might try to trick you with that one. Frankenstein, it's Dr. Frankenstein, right? Here's Walden by Thoreau and Civil Disobedience. The Count of Monte Cristo, that's fairly well known for people who read nowadays, which is a minority, it seems. You know, I look on YouTube for other people that do videos like I'm doing right now, and you know what they are? They're probably 90% young women, and all they have is crap fiction. Not this. Some of them have some of these, like Jane Austen, sometimes. Most of them have just the crap of the last 10 years. Here is Dumas. So Monte Cristo's Dumas. I'll move the camera over here. Just a second. Okay. So that one was Dumas, Monte Cristo, but also I've got here The Man in the Iron Mask by Dumas, and it's a illustrated one. So that was a nice little find. Okay, now some Dostoyevsky. Let's put these down. Dostoyevsky, the Idiot. The Brothers Karamazov. I'll show you the cover. Jeez, I hope that's not too bright. Okay. And next is The Devils. The Devils. And the one I have read is the next one, and the most famous one, Crime and Punishment. I had to deal with the translator on this one. There's many translators, and I was looking all over the internet, and I came to the conclusion that a good translator for Dostoyevsky, or the Crime and Punishment, I mean, is Monet, Monas, M-O-N-A-S. But you can do your own research if you want, and also look at the other translators and see what the best is. This is the Monet's translation. I think Crime and Punishment is a good book, although many people don't like it. I like it for the psychology. It's also a romantic tragedy, so a man fails because of his choices. That's kind of the essential bit of romantic tragedy. But yeah, Crime and Punishment is pretty good. If you can get past the first 50 pages. First 50 pages is a guy in a bar, and it's kind of annoying. If you can get past that, then it's pretty good. This reminds me of Tolkien's Trilogy, which I couldn't get through because it was it spent too long describing every flower and every rock that the hobbits would come across, and it just annoyed the hell out of me. So no, I don't have any Tolkien, actually. Alrighty, here is Women in Love by D.H. Lawrence. I didn't have any D.H. Lawrence, and that's why I picked that up. And here's The Women in White by Wilkie Collins. By the way, in case anyone's wondering, why did you buy these? They look brand new. They're right. You're right, they are brand new. These were 3 for $10, so I bought a bunch of them. That's why I have them. I actually bought 10 for 20. No. 10 for, what would that be? 10 would be 30. I think it was 10 for 30, and I had $5 off or something from Chapters. So I bought a whole bunch of them. Here's Hugo's Les Miserables. This is also romantic tragedy. I think I have that right. Hugo, Victor Hugo. He also has a 93, strangely enough, for people who are interested in Rand. There is a 93 out there that Rand has an introduction in. I guess they had an association, Victor Hugo and Rand. She has an introduction in one of his 93. That's the title, 93. So if I ever see it someday, then I will get it, but I'm not going to order it. I'm not going to bother with it. There's George Eliot, Middlemarch. That reminds me, George Eliot's a pen name. It's actually a woman writer. Same with Voltaire. Voltaire's a pen name, so don't get that mixed up. Same with Charles Dickens. I think Charles Dickens is also a pen name. Here's The Mill and the Floss by George Eliot. Okay, I think that is it for the 20th, or for the 19th century. I could be wrong though, but I want to split these up. So next video will be, I hopefully don't have this screwed up. When was Tolstoy alive? This might have been like 17th century, but I'll figure it out in the title.